Hello basketball coaches and basketball players, my name is Alan from Mel's Basketball Training, and today I am going to give you the strategies that I implemented as a high school basketball coach, high school level basketball coach, and what you can implement with your teams as well. These are some tips and strategies that I find very, very helpful. Okay, so first we are going to start with a fast team. So with a fast team, I would start with a 1-2-1-1 to start the game. Now, I don't mean to run this the whole first quarter or the first half, but I would say a good solid first 4 or 5 possessions, I would be full court pressing right at the beginning against every single team. The reason for this is it sets a precedent as to, what they're looking at, what they're going after in this first game. So, for one, it shows that we're going to be making the other team work. A 1-2-1-1 is a very strong press. And then, after the first 4 or 5 possessions, I want to lean back a little bit. I want my players to not be run ragged throughout the whole game because, of course, I want my players to be able to last the whole game if I need to rely on 1 or 2 to play three quarters of the game. So then after that first 4 or 5 possessions, even with a quick team, I am starting to move back into a 1-3-1 half-court press. Where now, I've already explained this in previous videos, but again, we're looking, even with the other press, to trap in those corners. I don't want these 3 players to go past half-court. They are staying behind half-court. They're staying home. That way, we can cut off a lot of their passes. We want player 1 to direct the player with the ball to left or right sides. And if the ball is over on this side, we do not want player 3 to move past half court. We want him to stay home. That way, if they reverse the ball, player 1 can recover and he can continue to force the ball over to this corner with your players as well, because this is a great strategy. Now let's go over to a strategy that I would use with a bigger team. With a bigger team, I would start with a 1-3-1 half-court press. Instead of just leaning back to it after the first 4 or 5 possessions, we're going to start in the 1-3-1. Now, the reason for this is because obviously they're bigger and they're not as fast, maybe. And if we have a slower team, this is what I would be running. That way, we're allowing them to get up to that roughly 3/4 court area, and then we start pressing them to go one way or the other. Of course, same strategy applies. These guys are not going past half court unless they have a clear-cut path very close to half court where they're going to steal the ball or steal a pass or something. Other than that, once the 4 or 5 possessions come down, we're going to be matching up either in a zone in my Unbeatable Basketball Defense. If you haven't gone, check that book out. Link is in the description below. But also in a man-to-man. A couple of different options there depending on the team that we're playing up against. Now, if the team is slower like us, we will press. However, what we're going to be pressing with is not the 1-2-1-1, the diamond. What we're going to be pressing with is the 1-2-2. Now, the reason behind this is because now we're still going to be clogging up the middle and forcing everyone out to the sides, which every single press defense forces teams to do. However, with this one, we've got our bigger players a little bit higher up front instead of just having our players like that. This way, we can cut off a lot more of those long passes a lot easier. It's a lot less running because now sideline passes are a lot harder to get to, but now they're a lot easier to get to. That's why. Going into the half court, with a shorter team, what I would personally run is something along the lines of either a 2-1-2 with a bigger team, a 2-3, or my Unbeatable Basketball Defense that basically creates a double team no matter what, with no openings from the free throw line and below. Again, very useful. I would also kind of dabble with the 1-2-2 as well. Now, going over to a quicker team, what I would personally run is man-to-man pretty much the whole game at the half-court level. However, what I would also dabble with is the 3-2 zone defense. That's also very good to run if you have a quicker team. Now with the 3-2, I would actually kind of run what's called a swarm type defense. And what I mean by that is when the players get the ball, there's going to be a double team. Players are going to be moving over to their locations, and wherever that ball goes, there's a double team that follows. So if the ball gets passed around, we're going to be having a double team. Ball gets over there, double team. Now, of course, if the ball gets drove towards the basket, now there's a swing, and there's lots of players open. So if that double team doesn't come quick enough, it does open up a lot of options. However, if you have a quick enough team, you could run the swarm defense. And I've never really ran a video or made a video about the swarm defense. However, I just might. That might come up soon. I'm going to put that in my notes. Anyways, I hope that you have enjoyed today's video. If you have, hit that like button, subscribe, and I will see you guys again tomorrow for another daily basketball video.